This thing could definitely look a lot better. I mean, I really want to wash it, but it's super cold outside. We'll see what the customer says. I mean, I don't want to wash it, but it really needs to be washed. You don't have a vehicle this gorgeous, this dirty. It's like a crime. I love, this is my favorite model. We got a cracked windshield. We've got a ton of tar and road boogers, tons of brake dust on the wheels. We do have a lot of deep scratches and dents on this. This vehicle is used hard. It's had a little bit of a rough life. We can do something about that. Interior definitely is gonna look and smell a ton better. Exterior, we'll see what they say. Fingers crossed. I mean, I kind of do, but I kind of don't want to do it. It's gonna be a longer day for me, which means less videos, more worky.
How can you simultaneously be dreading and yet so stoked to do a detail? There is so much that needs to be done on this vehicle, and honestly, the interior alone is going to be quite daunting because we're dealing with Tesla carpets. We've got some major stains. It smells like some spilled milk on this back seat, and I know that this is actually for a mom that I want to make sure that this interior is clean for her. But I know that this is going to be a long day because you don't have this level of crumbs and it come up easily in a Tesla.
So I wasn't going to make a long form content with this because honestly, I have a lot of work that I need to do with this, but I have a feeling this is going to turn out to be like super satisfying. We're going to go in the other room because they're probably listening to me. We'll be right back. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. I don't know why, but when I detail Teslas, like, I get super anxious that the owner is like sitting on their phone watching me work. Like, I don't know why. Do you guys feel like that if you detail Teslas? And if you are a Tesla owner, I love you. Pay no attention to the singing detailer because you're probably gonna hear me singing. Hopefully it's on key. But I always just feel like Teslas are listening to me. They record, they're like motion sensitive, and I always just feel like I have to keep my opinions positive. But we do have a lot of work that we have to do on this Tesla. I really want to do the outside. I actually love working on Teslas. I don't like their carpets, but I think they're gorgeous vehicles. And honestly, like, we've got a lot of issues going on with this exterior. We got tar, road boogers, a ton of road film. Our door jambs are like crusty. We do have a cracked windshield. We do have some leaf etching, bird droppings, things like that. The paint is just kind of dull, stained. We have a ton of scratches, some dents. I can't do much about the deep scratches or the dents, but we can definitely wash it. Ideally, I would recommend polishing it to remove the staining and put fresh protection on there. We can degrease and blow out the door jambs so that we don't have issues with rust, because that dirt, if it stays in your door jambs, will eventually etch into the paint, can cause some rusting issues. So exterior wise, that's one thing. Customer only wanted an interior for now. I did say I recommend doing the exterior, so we'll see what they say. Our plans might be changing. Interior wise, it's where we're gonna start and focus on. Tesla carpets are not the best to work on. They're kind of sucky materials, and I don't have a compressor or tornador yet. They are en route. The tornador is here, compressor is en route. I know a lot of you guys are like really heavily invested in me having a tool to blow out interiors. We're gonna use our blower, good old elbow grease, stiff brushes to do what we can to pull out the soiling, the crumbs, the dust, the dirt. Vacuum, we do need to extract. There's an odor on this interior. It's just kind of stale. Smells like old French fries, a little bit of like a stale water. So we're gonna extract. We're gonna do the inserts on the leather seats. We're gonna extract the carpets. That will again help pull dirt and staining out of our carpets, fluff the fibers, help leave a nice fresh interior. For those of you that say you don't need to extract, sometimes you do, especially when there's odor issues. Bonnet cleaning or surface cleaning is not going to remove the odor issues. I mean, you could do like a BioBomb Mini, but the customer doesn't want an odor treatment, but they do want the interior to smell better. So extraction is how we're going to go about doing that. Vegan leather, we're going to still clean it like we normally would with our leather. A lot of it is just crumbs, vacuuming safely so you don't scratch the vegan leather. They can be very sensitive. Cleaning our glass, wiping down all of our plastics. The bulk of the work is going to be vacuuming. using our detailing brushes to go over all our plastics, cup holders, things like that. And then what we can't remove, clean with chemical, detailing brush, blower, get it nice and fresh and clean. So probably about 4 to 5 hours on the interior. If she adds the exterior, who knows how much longer that's gonna take, probably at least 2 hours to wash it. If we do a paint enhancement, probably another hour and a half. So could be an 8-hour day, could be a 4 to 5 hour day, who knows? Either way, I've gotta get to work. But this is gonna be a lot of voiceovers because I gotta, it's really hard for me. Let's go ahead and do this awesome vehicle. I'm so excited. It's gonna turn out so good. All right, and the customer just added a level 2 full detail. So it looks like we are add 2 hours to that timer. 2 hours added. Because I don't quite have my compressor and blowout tool to benefit with being able to quickly blow out dirt from this carpet, these are the tools that we're going to use to help vacuum up the carpets. A lot of stiff brushes, many that are narrow to get into the tight spaces alongside seats. And honestly, the best tool that I have found is using a $3 pad cleaning brush. It's stiff and it allows me to pull all of the dirt within the carpet fibers up to the surface. It might look clean at a first glance, but when you actually look closer, there was so much dirt and crumbs just embedded in these carpets. When working inside my garage in the winter time, sometimes it can be very difficult to see the dirt because lighting is going to be limited. So it's also important to make sure you have good lighting so that way you can clean the dirt. If you don't see the dirt, you can't clean the dirt. I know a lot of you guys have expressed that you love watching my interior detailing transformation videos, and honestly, I love interior detailing. It's one of my favorite things to be able to do, and I love sharing with you guys my techniques and trying to teach you guys some of the knowledge that I have when it comes to interiors. But sometimes it's really hard to film interior detailing. Either one, I don't have enough time to film it because I just need to focus on the detail, or two, the angles are not the best. Sometimes my head or my arm or my butt will block the shot. So I'm trying to share with you guys a different vantage point, and you can see, one, I'm using a crevice attachment. This just gives me better suction to be able to go after the carpets that have a lot of dirt within them. But also you can see, yes, it's a lot of elbow grease. Interior detailing can be, quite honestly, physically back-breaking and arm-breaking. My forearm is the strongest muscle in my body because sometimes I could vacuum for 1 to 2 hours straight. Now, thankfully, with the blowout tool, I've been able to decrease that time by like 75%. But interior detailing is definitely not for the faint of heart. You'll notice on our fabric on our back seat, we have a lot of white stains. A lot of it looks like it's food or milk related, some of it's crumbs, but we also have some body sweat, maybe salt stains on our fabric, but this looks like it's something more.
I think you got a leak. That is why it smells wet in here. I think there's a leak. Is that water damage?
I know, Daniela, you said that the interior had kind of like a wet smell or a stagnant smell. I'm not 100% sure, but this does look like possibly you had some water leak inside. This here, my best guess is either it's sweat stains or you did have some water come on the interior and dry, because that just looks like moisture damage. Could be from sweating, could just be from soiling. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely does have a pungent odor on this fabric. So we're gonna clean with an enzymatic solution, but I do recommend just having this area on your vehicle looked at. Sometimes these seals can leak on the inside if they're clogged, or if the vehicle hasn't been cleaned in a while. You can have a buildup of dirt in these areas that will clog the drains. And sometimes, I'm not 100% sure, I'm not a mechanic, but I just wanted to point out that this is the potential area where water may have come inside if you did have some water, and that's where some of that smell is coming from.
Sometimes as detailers, some people just see us as glorified housemaids for your car. And while sometimes that can be the case, I actually see myself as a detailer, someone who is not only helping people fall back in love with their vehicle and help them be more comfortable in their vehicle, but I also can help see and discover issues that maybe the customer was not aware of. Maybe they have water in their trunk because they left something open, or maybe they have a clogged drain on the roof. That water has leaked down into the carpet and it's starting to develop mold and mildew on the interior. Oftentimes, I may not be able to mechanically fix it, but there have been many times that I've been able to discover an issue, help the customer be able to get it into a garage, and have those issues resolved before they become a bigger issue. And that's just on the inside, let alone what sometimes we're able to do with helping to prevent clear coat failure and oxidation and rust on the exterior of your vehicle. So if you're a professional detailer and sometimes you just feel like a glorified housemaid, just know I see you. And I know I said at the beginning of this detail that the Model S was my favorite model Tesla, but after vacuuming this trunk, I don't think I can say that any longer. This trunk, it's huge. I'm sure for the customer, they love it because it can probably hold a ton of items. However, if you're trying to reach the entire length of this trunk, I'm almost 6 feet tall. I could barely reach the very front of the trunk without exhausting myself, and it took forever for me to vacuum this trunk. Thank God for the pumice stone and the hammerhead attachment from Furriel to be able to go after some of the dust, pet hair, and crumbs that were just deep within these carpets. But when I tell you that I loathe Tesla carpets, guys, I am not even underestimating that. My arms were practically shaking by the time I was done with this trunk. And what you don't realize is that I'm almost sitting in this trunk just to be able to reach the full length of it.
So we've just been vacuuming for like an hour and a half. I got about a half of the trunk done, but not even like the worst part of it. You guys ever see like the reels that they show like a hose under a seat with some shoes peeking out, or maybe shoes in the trunk? And it just kind of gives you the impression that the detailer is really, really deep in the vehicle. That's how I was in this one. I've never actually had to step into a trunk just to reach everything. I'm almost 6 feet tall and I've got like orangutan arms, and I could not reach everything without kind of stepping into it. So this carpet, while it is thicker than your typical Teslas like the Model 3s, because it's thicker, really difficult to vacuum. I'm actually like exhausted. My arms are just, they're kind of jelly right now. So we're gonna keep pushing through. I've got about a half an hour left. We've got the front, the back completely vacuumed, half of the trunk. We need to do the passenger seat. So hopefully we'll be able to get it done, but we're probably gonna have to charge a little bit extra. I normally charge $40 a row for excess soiling, and was gonna charge a customer $80 for the front and second row, but because the trunk is probably the dirtiest part of the whole vehicle, we might have to charge an extra $40 just for the time required. Make sure if you're doing the work, you're getting paid for it. So I think the customer's gonna understand, honestly. They were totally fine with the additional fees. They knew it was pretty bad. Hasn't been cleaned in 2 years, so it's gonna take some effort, but we'll get her there. We'll get her there.
As a detailer, sometimes it never ceases to amaze me that in one day, just how much we are able to undo. Although sometimes I do wish the customers wouldn't let it go that far. Obviously, it's cheaper and easier to maintain a vehicle versus having to do a deep restorative cleaning. But sometimes, honestly, I just impress myself. But it does not come quick, it does not come easy, and sometimes it does not come cheap.
It took over 2 hours for us to vacuum, but now we're going to shift gears and we're going to get the exterior washed. And I know this may sound super weird considering what we just were able to do on the interior with vacuuming, but I was the most excited to see our door jambs cleaned out because they were so crusty with road film and dirt. We're using Superior Products Dark Area, which is a high pH alkaline degreaser. We're going to spray it down and we're not going to touch them. We're going to just blast them out with our pressure washer. This is why I always vacuum before we get to this step, so that way I don't have any dirt and dust kind of turn into mud. Any little mist we get on the interior, I can just very easily wipe up with a microfiber. But this is just the fastest and best way to deep clean really crusty door jambs, and an essential step that most people overlook when it comes to maintaining their vehicles and preventing rust and issues on their paint. But especially with the issues that we're having with water entering the inside of the vehicle, I'm assuming through the drains on the roof, we're going to pay special attention to trying to blast out any dirt that might be clogging any of the areas where water drains on this vehicle, so that way we can try to prevent this issue from happening for the customer in the future. Now it's time for us to do what we've all been waiting for me to do: wash the exterior of this car. First, we're going to foam on Kushemi Multi-Star and Foam. This is a high alkaline foaming pre-soak. It has a pH of around 13, so it is very potent. But when you have as much dirt as we have on this Tesla, you need something that is on the stronger side to chemically try to remove all the contaminants before you do your contact wash. This paint isn't in pristine condition by any means, but I don't want to have to scrub aggressively because, again, we've spent so much time on this interior. I'm actually a little bit on the tire side, so I'm relying on my chemical doing a bulk of the cleaning for me. And you can see on our tires and wheels, this multi-star and foam is literally almost touchless cleaning our tires. And all the road boogers and film that we had on the paint, we'll take a look at how satisfying this is. And I know some of you are probably wondering, what on earth is a road booger? Well, you ever notice when it rains, worms seem to come out of the ground and they love to go onto the road? Well, we drive over those worms and they get splattered all over your vehicle. And when they dry there, they kind of resemble a booger. So I have named them road boogers. Feel free to use that terminology if you'd like. But regardless, whatever they're called, they're no longer there. Thankfully, our foaming pre-soak, we were able to chemically remove them, so I don't have to remove them by hand, because nobody wants to touch that. Thanks to our high pH foaming pre-soak and a very thorough high pressure rinse, majority of the dirt has been removed from our paint and tires and wheels. So now we're going to use Shine Supply Wise Guy to come in and get our tires and wheels dialed in, and then we can come in and do our contact wash. Now this vehicle was in pretty rough shape, like I said at the beginning of the detail, and I did recommend to the customer that we polish the paint. However, it was not in their budget for us to polish it with this detail. So what we're going to actually do is use Meguiar's Wash Plus. This is a soap that actually has a polish within it to see if we can bring back a little bit of luster and a little bit more gloss and shine on this paint. Now, unfortunately, Meguiar's has discontinued the soap. I'm still waiting for them to bring it back just for me, or maybe to bring it back for the professional series, because I feel like the enthusiast community didn't quite understand what this soap could do. Detailers, however, we understood the power of this soap in situations where you have heavy contaminants. You could almost use this like you would a clay bar to deep clean paint. You had to know how to use it properly so that you didn't do damage, but I absolutely love this soap, and we'll see when we're done rinsing everything off if we've been able to kind of bring back some luster to this paint. So even though we can't polish it, there's still things that we can do
to make the paint look better. And if someone out there can maybe make a product that works like this, let me know, because I will buy it. So even though we used our Meguiar's Wash Plus to wash the vehicle, we still have quite a bit of grit on the paint. And we all know that shiny paint comes from smooth paint. So we're going to do a quick clay towel decontamination and make sure that we have a silky smooth surface before we go ahead and rinse it and put our protection on. And speaking of protection, I'm looking for something that is quick and easy. And so for that, we're going to use Protector Wax from Koshemi. This is one of my favorite spray and rinse products. You just simply put a few sprays down on a wet panel, push the product over with your high pressure water, and just like that, you've been able to add protection that can last up to 5,000 miles.
So it's starting to rain on us, which is fine because I can actually use this product while it's raining. We are going to use a ceramic detailer though afterwards, just to kind of stack it, remove any light streaking that we might have, and also just to give us a little bit more slickness and gloss on the paint. So we got the exterior all done. At this point, we're gonna get our steamer set up because we do have some sticky stuff on the interior that we need to clean. We're also going to extract all of our inserts and our carpet. We're going to pressure wash our mats and then extract them. There's just so much dirt deep in those thick fibers that it just keeps wanting to come. You do have to be careful when you're pressure washing thicker carpets or mats like this that you don't scorch or burn the material, the fabric. So we just need to make sure that we leave everything nice and fresh without any burn lines from the pressure wash. So just keep a safe distance. But we're gonna do a majority of this off camera. We are going to use our Ductile and our Glico from Labo Cosmetica on our carpets and seats. Works really well, really nice, fresh kind of apple scent. I just really like the scent. But the big thing that I really want to have on these carpets, since they are thicker, I want to leave them nice and soft and fresh. If you use too much chemical or residue, it'll make them crunchy, and that actually accelerates resoiling. I think that was one of the issues with this interior. There was so much like greasy substance from food and dirt and stuff, and that actually is like glue to hold on to dirt, and that holds on to odors as well. So I think once we remove all of the residue on our carpets and inserts, hopefully it will smell better for the customer. But she definitely does have a fresh leak right back here. We sent a video to her that she's gonna have a mechanic look at that. That I think is contributing also to the smell on the interior. I do wish we could polish this paint because we do have a lot of staining. The paint I think is starting to get some oxidation, so we will make recommendations if they don't want to have clear coat failure or oxidation in the future. I do recommend polishing it, but a lot of this we're just going to breeze through. I'm just kind of talking you through what I'm going to do next because I have about 2 hours to get it all done. So we're going to go into rapid mode and get it done. So I'll talk you through what we're doing, but we might just be at this point showing you guys the finished result because I may not have time to film it all. It adds probably 15, 20, 30 minutes whenever I am filming for this. So I'm going to do my best to film it for you guys, but if not, just stay tuned. We'll definitely show you the finished result.
First, we treat everything with Ductile. Then we sprayed on our Glico, agitate with our drill brush, spray with our pressure washer, and then extract. These carpets were super thick, and you can see we pulled up a ton of dirt, and I think there was actually a soap spill because I didn't have that much foam with my cleaner. But with these cleaners, what you're going to find is you can either clean with Ductile, which is an all-purpose cleaner. It's great for Alcantara, but it also has odor-blocking technology within it. I think that's where you get that really nice scent. But Glico is actually an acid rinse, so this is technically supposed to be used as like a 2 pH system. You can either spray them individually or stack them on top of one another, but they do a really great job at just lifting dirt to the surface and rinsing everything away and leaving behind a nice fluffy feeling. For any of our sticky substances, we ended up using Koshemi Ulex. This is actually a really fantastic sap remover, but you can also use this for sticky substances, especially on carpets, to break it down and make it easier to remove. After extracting all of our seat inserts as well as our carpets and mats, All we really had to do was get all of our plastics cleaned. For that, we used P&S Express Interior Cleaner, and we were able to get a complete transformation on this Tesla. This was an exhausting detail from start to finish. We had challenges every which way, from impossible carpets to heavy dirt and grime on the exterior, as well as staining, leaks, etc. And in 6.5 hours, we were able to undo years worth of neglect. When the customer came to pick it up, she was blown away with what we were able to do. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this transformation detail, as well as a closer look at what all it takes to be able to transform my customers' vehicles for them. This wasn't a disaster detail by any means, and I'm so glad that we were able to help my customer fall back in love with her vehicle. But these are kind of the average vehicles that I see on a day-to-day basis. And while they can be physically exhausting and sometimes even mentally exhausting, when you have the right products and tools, honestly, it makes these jobs so worthwhile to be able to help your customers fall back in love with their vehicles. But if you guys enjoy content like this, make sure you give us a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe and hit that notify bell so that way you don't miss out on any of our future details. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next detail.